increases in skin hydration across trial subjects. This chart shows the corneometer data timeline. Notice the immediate reaction, a sharp, statistically significant hydration spike just 10 minutes post-treatment. This spike compounds over 6 weeks. The data tracks rising trend lines across 3 distinct metrics: hydration, structural tissue integrity, and overall skin tone. Clinically, these metrics translate to visible outcomes: a measurable reduction in fine lines, a clearing of cumulative sun damage, and pronounced improvement in surface radiance. These results were validated in a very specific cohort, subjects aged 41 to 65, a demographic where structural dermal decline is typically accelerating. Topical metrics like these rival the most advanced cosmetic interventions on the market, yet they are actually masking a much deeper physiological mechanism occurring far below the dermis, deep within the body. The central paradox of the Alavida protocol lies in the delivery system itself. The patch applied to the skin is entirely non-transdermal. Inside the patch is a carefully engineered blend of water and organic materials, applied directly to a polyester fabric. These materials are permanently sealed within an acrylic sleeve. Absolutely zero active pharmaceutical or chemical ingredients ever breach the skin or enter the bloodstream. The only component making physical contact is a hypoallergenic 3M medical-grade adhesive designed specifically to prevent localized skin irrigation over repeated nightly use. This presents a strict biological problem. If no chemicals are delivered into the tissue, how does a completely sealed patch induce a 10-minute hydration spike and long-term elasticity changes in the skin? To understand the surface-level results, we must abandon traditional dermatology. The answer requires examining the body's bioelectrical and neuroendocrine architecture. The patch does not operate as a chemical delivery system. Instead, it functions as a thermodynamic light transducer. The activation sequence begins with the body itself. Infrared body heat radiates from the skin into the patch's polymer shell. This heat activates the organic crystals inside, which then reflect specific infrared and visible light frequencies back down through the epidermis into the tissue. This reflects a scientifically established process known as photobiomodulation. It is a precise biological mechanism where specific wavelengths of light stimulate targeted biochemical reactions within the cells. This reflected light leverages electrodermal activity, or EDA. By utilizing continuous variations in the electrical characteristics of the skin, the patch transmits these specific frequency signals deep into the body's network. This light-driven signal interfaces with the body's bioelectrical pathways to inhibit the intracellular mechanisms that generate reactive oxygen species. This specific frequency targets the systemic reduction of free radical production. Lowering systemic oxidative stress frees up metabolic energy previously consumed by cellular inflammation. This internal shift acts as the catalyst for the cellular repair that eventually manifests on the surface as healthy skin. To measure this internal systemic effect, clinical trials utilized an electro-interstitial scanning, or EIS system. The EIS system takes precise measurements of bioelectrical impedance, which serves as an indicator of cellular physiologic organ function. The parameters of the study were rigorous. Researchers tracked and evaluated the physiological, functional status across 12 different major organs over a continuous 30-day period. Despite the topical application, the study's most significant recorded effect size occurred within high-level neurological function. Scans showed highly significant improvement in the functional status of both the right and left frontal lobes. The data achieved a p-value of less than 0.001, indicating a statistical power of at least 99%. The phototherapy protocol optimizes these high-level cognitive centers weeks before aesthetic changes appear in the mirror. That neurological enhancement acts as a catalyst. The 30-day EIS scans mapped these improvements cascading into the downstream endocrine system. Data revealed highly significant functional upgrades in the primary endocrine control centers, the hypothalamus and pituitary gland, achieving a p-value under 0.001. These cascading benefits continued downward, showing parallel physiological improvements in the thyroid gland and both adrenal glands. This specific combination of neuroendocrine and physiological regulation is absolutely critical. By regulating the hypothalamus and adrenals simultaneously, the patch directly mitigates systemic stress responses that actively accelerate biological aging. Beyond the endocrine system, the bioelectrical changes extended into the body's primary detoxification and filtration pathways. Over the 30-day trial, the EIS recorded highly significant improvements in liver function. The data also captured significant upgrades in both kidneys, and the pancreas demonstrated improvements, achieving a p-value of less than 0.01, indicating 90% statistical power. In fact, of all the organs measured in the clinical study, the intestines were the only tissue group that did not achieve statistical significance within the 30-day window. When you synthesize the complete EIS dataset, a distinct physiological hierarchy emerges. The profound external skin rejuvenation measured in early trials is merely the downstream byproduct of this coordinated internal multi-organ optimization. Unlike metabolic patches designed for daytime use, the Alavida system is engineered exclusively for nighttime physiological repair. The timing is highly specific. The patch must be applied immediately before sleep and removed promptly upon waking. For optimal clinical efficacy, the patch must be worn for a maximum window of 12 hours. Furthermore, the protocol demands an anti-habituation cycle. To prevent adaptation to specific light frequencies, the patch is applied 5 consecutive nights, followed by 2 nights off. Placement is equally critical, relying on 2 specific meridian points to maximize the electrodermal response, CV7 and CV4. CV7 is located at the base of the back of the neck, while CV4 sits on the abdomen, just below the umbilicus. This precise cyclical placement is not arbitrary. It utilizes the skin's inherent electrical properties to map directly to the exact physiological pathways needed to trigger the systemic endocrine response. We began with clinical data measuring hydration and firmness, but the science reveals a reality of deep bioelectrical intervention. The Alavida clinical data proves that localized skin aging is intrinsically linked to systemic oxidative stress and overall organ function. 0 transdermal chemicals are required when the body's own photobiomodulatory systems are properly activated. By clearing out oxidative stress at the organ level, the body naturally diverts its own resources to heal and reconstruct the dermal layers. Dermatological anti-aging functions as the measurable, engineered result of deep neuroendocrine homeostasis.